was also charged with child neglect because the children was in the car. So I had
and me.
Right. So and also because she was in the passenger seat, and they said that she didn't remove them children from the vehicle while I was under the influence of alcohol. He charged her with child neglect.
Yeah.
So when it went to court, in magistrates. We were both charged, and we went to court in Harrogate magistrates. The solicitor would not, even the duty solicitor would not represent her because she had no resource to public funds. So she had no legal representation. So I was banged to rights because I was drink driving in the car and I shouldn't have had the children, and they was in the incorrect car seats or something or other. But I didn't crash the car. Nobody was hurt. So, but my solicitor said to me, all I can do is I can't defend you on a not guilty plea on that. I'd advise you to go guilty. So I went guilty, but because I was going guilty, I thought it was in our best interest to go guilty as well because we got a lesser sentence. Now, we was both given
12 months.
No, a 4-week. No, we were both given a 4-week suspended sentence for 1 year for it, and I got 120 hours community service, which I completed. I did that, and then what happened was.
I need to say probation.
Because I went
for 6 months.
Because I was also charged with drink driving. I went not guilty on that because I had a medical defence and they found me guilty. What they did, because I was already on the suspended sentence for the other one, they activated that, and that's why I got jail. So they activated the child neglect, and they also gave me another, I think it was 8 weeks for the drink drive. So when it went to court it all went to court in January of 2018. I was given just short of 6 months in prison. But I only completed half my sentence, so I did 3 months, and it was all because of the activated child neglect, suspended sentence, and also because of the drink drive, which I hold my hands up. It was I admit that I was completely wrong with me, but it's about how you come back from that and how you recover and how you learn from that. You know,
and how much all savings, all money we have spent on solicitor.
Yeah, we had enough money to put a deposit down for a mortgage when we moved up here in this area because house prices are a lot cheaper than from Manchester. But I lost everything. But it was my stupid fault because I should have just held my hands up and said guilty all the way, and I didn't. I tried fighting it on a medical defence, and it come back to bite me. So I lost all my savings. Ended community service, but that was I really do think that you didn't have you wasn't entitled to any representation in court when you should have done. Really, if she was an overstayer or an asylum, every person in this who lives resident in this country should be entitled to some type of legal aid.
And another thing, because I'm not entitled to any public fund, the 3 months under in jail, supposed social service by law to support me, them don't support me. And them always say to me, for why your husband instead pay solicitor, don't let this money for you.
They wanted her to go to, when I was in prison, they wanted her to go to a food bank, right? So she went to a food bank and said, I need some food for my children. And they wouldn't give her any food because she had no resource to public funds because a residence permit at the time had expired.
Yeah.
So, no, it didn't expire, did it? It just said on a residence permit, no resource to public funds. So when she'd shown that there, they said, we can't give you anything. And only by the grace of God, the school, and I know Slate Thorntree Primary School off, and also 13 Housing, who was supporting you, actually come round with bags and boxes of food for the social workers actually come and drop some food off. There's a couple of tins weren't dented and stuff, and she was expected to feed a family on that because any other person in this country would be able to go to the job centre and apply for child benefit, tax credits, job seekers allowance, any help from the social fund. And she wasn't entitled to that.
Week before Andrew go out to jail, all the time them say, he go out next week, he go out next week, he go out next week. And 1 week before Andrew go out to jail, she gave me £70, and she asked me receipt for everything where I buy. I go in Lidl, Aldi, and the one day I remember it's very snow and freezing cold, and I live closer to M&S. I go Max Expenses. I go over there and I buy a milk and bread and spend like £5 something. And I show the receipt for her, and she looks so and say, oh, you very posh, huh? You know, look, you're not thinking about your life going down. No, you don't live in Norfolk anymore now. Why you go shopping M&S?
Yeah, and
I think it's abuse.
Just for milk and bread, and she wasn't going to accept the receipt back and wanted you to pay the money back just because she shopped at M&S, not bloody Aldi, a discount supermarket.
So what I just want to say is this: despite the fact that the social worker slapped you, and she was the one that even called the police,
yes,
and taking into consideration that your kids have been taken into care,
Yeah.
Now the
you,
allegation
you
are
feel
aggressive.
you feel depressed, and due to that, the solicitor suggests it would be better for you to plead guilty. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. Because the thing is, if it did go to trial, if I'd pled not guilty on that day, it would have gone to trial. Because if I was given sort of an ultimatum basically, so it was either you plead guilty, you get a fine, you don't go back to prison. If we go for a trial, because I was still on licence, I would have gone back to prison because it would have been a conviction then if I was found guilty. Now I had more of a chance of getting found guilty because you had the social worker that was there, who would have said that I'd push, because assault can be, you know, it could be a push, you know, I could go like that to Nara, that could be classed as assault. But I didn't. I went past the police, so she'd testify in court and say, even though she slapped me, first of all, to get me riled up, and it's going to make, you know, she's going to get a reaction from me. So that's what started it. So it was like slap, massive reaction. And then police have attended, and obviously she's going to stand up in court and say that assaulted her. If the police have arrested and charged me with assault on police officer, they're going to stand up in court. So who's the magistrate going to believe? Who's going to believe me, who's just got out of prison, who's still on licence, or is it going to believe a social worker who's on an enhanced DRB check, and also a police officer who's, you know, a man of standing? Over little old me, so it was me against the world basically, and I had to do that just to save my skin.
You had to plead guilty.
I had to because I would have gone back to prison otherwise. Because I know for a fact that magistrate would have found me guilty. Because the thing is, I was intoxicated as well at the time, so, you know, another thing, I wasn't majorly drunk, but I was under the influence of alcohol, and obviously they seen me being aggressive because I was shouting at her, but it was only because she slapped me and she wouldn't release my children back into my care. So obviously I'm gonna go crazy. I defend my children with my life, you know. I die for my children, you know. If there was a bus coming towards one of my kids, I'd push my kid out the way and I'd go underneath the bus, you know. And it was that sort of reaction that I felt that day was happening to us. My world was falling apart. I'd just come out of prison. I'd spent 21 days in total with my children since being released from prison, and then they was taken from me. You know, so it was like I've been through all that. I've been going to prison. I'd served my time. You know, I'd come out of prison. I wanted to get, you know, I needed help. I needed help then, not what happened.
Torture, the probation office all the time torture you.
Yeah.
The guys one as well, him together, this probation office together, the social service desire them very close with you.
Yeah.
Them is the one torture us. It's torture the way them treat us. I think it's torture.
Yeah.
Okay, nice talking to you guys. I hope from there we take it further.
Yeah. So.